गुड न्यूज टुडे, नई उम्मीद जगाने वाला हिंदी न्यूज चैनल.
All right, our top focus story is from Muzaffarnagar. The farmers sounded the war cry there yesterday. Viewers, tens and thousands of farmers came together and said they're going to campaign against the BJP in the upcoming assembly elections. The farm unions led by Rakesh Tikait held a Mahapanchayat in Uttar Pradesh, Muzaffarnagar district. The message was very clear. The protesting farmers now looking for a big mobilization against the BJP in 2022, especially the UP elections. Will they succeed? That's the question.
The wrath of farmers. These images from the Kisan Mahapanchayat in western UP's Muzaffarnagar speak loud. The 9-month-long farmer agitation has come to draw political blood. The Kisan Morcha will now be fought in Uttar Pradesh in the heart of a tectonic election that will set the stage for 2024.
जैन चौधरी को लाऊंगे जो बगल का जैन चौधरी को लाऊंगे इस सरकार को बदलेंगे.
The farmer unions and the farmers are in no mood to relent, reigniting their agitation against the centre's 3 farm laws and making a resolve to make the government pay politically the cost of indifference to their 9-month battle.
ये दोनों बाहरी लोग हैं, इनको यहाँ से जाना होगा. अमित शाह, मोदी और योगी उत्तर प्रदेश की जमीन पे ये दंगा करवाने वाले लोग हैं. इनको यहाँ पे बर्दाश्त यहाँ की जनता नहीं करेगी.
Farmers and a sea of supporters braving extreme heat with no COVID protocol in the pandemic theatre. The farmer unions want to mobilize support against the BJP in 2022 polls and have found support from the opposition parties in India's most populous state.
इतना किसान कभी अपमानित नहीं हुआ होगा जितना भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार में अपमानित हुआ है. उन्हें आतंकवादी तक कहा गया और न जाने क्या-क्या बातें भारतीय जनता पार्टी के नेताओं ने उन किसानों के लिए कहा.
At the back of the massive show of farmer strength, Rahul Gandhi shared a picture of the farmers' protest. The BJP has now accused the Congress scion of sharing an old picture to mislead.
इस देश में जब भी भ्रम की राजनीति होती है, जब भी कंफ्यूजन फैलाया जाता है, झूठ की राजनीति होती है, तो कहीं न कहीं राहुल गांधी जी का हाथ होता ही है. आज भी उन्होंने एक ट्वीट करके एक पुराने फोटो को आज का फोटो दिखाने का कोशिश किया है.
While central leaders of the BJP maintained that the Muzaffarnagar Mahapanchayat call to vote against the party would not do much damage to its prospects in the upcoming elections, there was embarrassment with party MP Varun Gandhi asking for re-engagement with the protesting farmers. The massive protest in Uttar Pradesh held on 5th September will shift to Haryana's Karnal on 7th. To keep the momentum going and to remind the Haryana government lest they forget the brutal lathi charge on farmers 10 days ago, demanding murder case against SDM Ayush Sinha over his break heads viral video.
The farm protest has been festering since 9 months now. An attempt being made to peak it during Uttar Pradesh assembly elections. Will it dent BJP's prospects? It's often said that timing is everything in politics. With cameraman Sanjay, Samarth Srivastava for India Today.
All right, so the big questions that we're asking at the back of that report, the farmer agitation gathering steam right before assembly polls. Will farmer support decide the outcome of key assembly polls? Well, Uttarakhand is going into elections. Most importantly, Uttar Pradesh is going into elections in the next 6 months now. Is farmer protest now completely political? It's an allegation that has been made time in and time again by the incumbent government. And ultimately, should the government re-engage with farmers, resume dialogue? Because now it's 9 months running and we can see what's happening on ground. Let's cut across right now to our guest. Joining me is Yudhavir Singh, General Secretary, Bharatiya Kisan Union. I have Pawan Khera, Congress spokesperson. Nupur Sharma joins me in the capacity of the BJP spokesperson. Ghanshyam Tiwari, spokesperson, Samajwadi Party. Now, Nupur, I'd like to begin with you. You know, in midst of all of this, the BJP has mostly maintained that this is politically motivated. the opposition says, especially with what happened yesterday, it's a catharsis of rural dissent of sort. But, you know, I don't know if you believe in superstition, but Nupur, every time there's been a Mahapanchayat close to elections, in Muzaffarnagar especially, the incumbent government has lost the coming election.
Preeti, good evening to you, to your co-panelists and also to all your viewers. There was also a superstition that any sitting chief minister, if he or she goes to Noida, you never come back into power. Well, I don't think I'd like to believe in all of that, because simply put, are these actual farmers, Preeti? I will ask you that simply because one of your own colleague from your own media house was harassed so badly, so much so, she was physically taken on that she had to actually, use her hands to make way for herself. We all saw what happened to Chitra. Can farmers actually do that? I belong to a farming background myself from Bijnor in Uttar Pradesh. I don't think so. Secondly, in a farmers Mahapanchayat, have you ever heard sloganeering of the sorts of Allahu Akbar? And before anybody counters me by saying Har Har Mahadev slogans were also taken out, no, I don't think so. It was in a manner of giving a speech after saying Allahu Akbar slogan a couple of times that Mr. Tikait said, oh, we have previously also used Har Har Mahadev, to zero response from the people present there. And thirdly, have you ever seen in any Kisan protest a young girl of 25, in this case belonging to West Bengal, being raped and dying of COVID with no remorse at all, or nobody taking to task her rapist? And fourthly, most importantly, have you ever heard, I know you're from Haryana, have you ever heard any Kisan Union leaders doing what they did on the fateful day of January 26th at the Lal Killa? I'm sorry, bringing a bad name to our country by literally the shameful act of unfurling another flag alongside, using the Indian tricolor to hit policemen in their uniform, breaking over barricades, breaking public buses. So if you are to say that this is a Kisan Mahapanchayat and then ask me if I'm superstitious, my answer would totally depend on if at all it is a Kisan Mahapanchayat, because what actually happened in Muzaffarnagar was, I'm sorry, was shameful. And I think India today should be the first to condemn what happened with one of your own people.
Because you raised my colleague's situation, she's a reporter, I'm a reporter on ground as well. This is par for the course, Nupur. This happens everywhere, wherever you go. It happens in Mahapanchayats where Kisans are there. It's happened to me in a
Don't
BJP.
generalize it.
I'm not. It's happened to me.
It.
One second. You've asked me a question, I'm answering.
Don't normalize it.
You've asked me, madam,
it's
you've asked
shameful.
me. If you have asked me a question, madam, you've asked me a question. Give me the privilege to answer.
I mean, I'm sorry.
No. You've asked me a question. You've asked me a question.
Wherever it happened to you,
this is par for the course. It happens, madam. It happens in any political rally as well. I don't even want to get into political parties there. It happens anywhere. It's for a reporter. We have to go down there and do our job.
Harassment of women folk.
Sorry?
I'm sorry. As a woman, I'm saying it. Forget that you're a reporter. As a woman, I'm saying it.
Ma'am, as a woman, I'm saying it. I take no
where it happened. Did you see anything of this?
I take no favors. I take no favors because I'm a woman. I go there and report as a male colleague, as a woman colleague.
I understand, Preeti, but have you seen, Preeti, from somebody belonging to a farming background herself from her Nanihal? I'm going to rephrase my question. Did in any of the earlier Mahapanchayats, was any of your female colleagues or yourself ever harassed to such an extent?
Madam, I'd say yes.
Did you ever hear Allahu Akbar chants and sloganeering in
Madam, I would say yes.
Answer yes or no.
You have raised a question, so
Preeti?
Hear the answer.
Who, Preeti?
Hear the answer.
Preeti? Why did it not make news?
Hear the answer.
No, just because of convenience.
Hear the answer.
Who, Preeti?
Madam, hear the answer.
Who, Preeti?
Hear the
Who
answer.
was harassed in 2017?
Have the capacity to hear the answer. Madam,
who was harassed in 2003?
The debate is not about me. The debate is not about my colleague. The debate is about none of us. It's not about this. But yes, I'll vouch for my colleague. She's gone there, done her job. She'll go there, do her job again. And without passing judgment on a political rally or a Mahapanchayat.
I would say,
all right, let's move on now. I want to move on. Madam, I don't want to get into a singing match with you.
I would take your answer to mean women harassment is normal in Mahapanchayats. You are trying to say, you're trying to normalize women harassment in farmer Mahapanchayats. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not.
It's a normal course of action.
I'm trying to normalize
that women are harassed in Kisan Mahapanchayat. Then what are you trying to say? You are trying to normalize.
You are making an issue of something which we dealt with. It happens. It's par for the course. I'm sorry. I am sorry. It's par for the course.
Preeti, just name Preeti, just name.
Madam, okay,
Preeti,
it's not
just
about
name
us.
the
Why are we
female
wasting
anchor.
time on this?
Name the women
All
elected
right,
in
I
the
want to
Mahapanchayat.
quickly cut across
Please name.
to
Oh, forget
and
answer.
what you
Name any female
I want to cut
elected.
across to our other
Name
guests.
any female
Yudhavir
elected.
Singh,
No answer.
General Secretary, Bharatiya Kisan Union is also with us. Yudhavir जी, मैं आपसे बस यही सवाल पूछना चाहूंगी कि मुद्दा क्या था? आप लोग क्या वो 3 काले कानून की बात कर रहे थे? क्योंकि मैंने बैठ के आपकी काफी वहां पे स्पीच सुनी थी। 3 काले कानून की तो बात हुई नहीं है, बस बात यह हुई है कि बीजेपी को हराना है।
देखिए शायद बार बार मैं कल मंच पे था और बार बार हमने ये कहा कि हमारा एजेंडा जो था उसमें ना हम कुछ घटा रहे हैं बढ़ा रहे हैं, वो हमारा 3 कानून को वापसी लें और एमएसपी पे गारंटी दें, इसी बात को लेके हमारा फोकस था। ये दूसरी बात है, जब कोई भी बात होती है देश में घटना घटित हो, हम इस देश के निवासी हैं और हमारी फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर एक लिस्ट जारी करती है क्या क्या बिकेगा, तो देश के हर आदमी के दिल में दर्द होता है। इस देश में अगर सरकारी संस्थानों की बोली इसी तरह लगेगी तो हर आदमी जो देश का जागरूक नागरिक है कहीं ना कहीं उसको चिंता होती है और ये सवाल उठते हैं। ये मतलब ये कह देना कि कोई बात दूसरी की नहीं जाएगी, ये तो हमने नहीं कहा, लेकिन हमने ये कहा एजेंडा वही है, वही रहेगा, सरकार बात करे उस पर, बाकी हम चर्चा ही ना करें। हमारे मुंह पे ताला थोड़ी लगा हुआ है, देश में हो रहा है ये जिस तरह का डिसीजंस लिए जा रहे हैं, जो तमाम सरकारी संस्थान सरकारी संपत्ति एक पूंजीपतियों को सौंपने जा रही है सरकार, कोई छुपा नहीं है, पूरा खुल्लम खुला, वो तो बहुत ही एकदम से छाती
आपने तो वहां पे हल्ला बोल कर दिया है, आपने वहां पे हल्ला बोल कर दिया है कि जो प्रोटेस्टिंग किसान हैं वो भारतीय जनता पार्टी के खिलाफ कैंपेन करेंगे। एक चीज बताइए, जो आपके को पैनलिस्ट हैं नूपुर जी, उन्होंने एक पॉइंट रेज किया है कि वहां पे अल्लाह अकबर के नारे लगे थे। नाउ फॉर आवर व्यूअर्स आई वांट टू जस्ट गिव देम अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ अ बैकग्राउंड बिफोर आई लेट Yudhavir Singh answer. Now the belt of Muzaffarnagar, because there have been riots there in Muzaffarnagar, usually there's been a divide between the Muslims and the Hindus, which are mostly Jats, which are residing there. There is an attempt by the farm unions to bridge that divide under the umbrella of angst by the farmers and to bridge that communal divide. Yudhavir Singh ji, क्या यही नीति थी कि उन्होंने जो टिकैत साहब हैं इतनी जोर जोर से अल्लाह अकबर चिल्लाया और फिर बाद में ऑफ कोर्स ये भी बोला है हर हर महादेव कि जो पहला कम्युनल टेंशन है उस एरिया का,
आप जैसा
जी बोलिए।
आप इस बात को टिकैत साहब ने क्या कहा मैं रिपीट कर दूं और आप वो वीडियो मंगा के देख सकते हैं। उन्होंने कहा कि यहाँ जो धार्मिक उन्माद पीछे फैला ये तो वो धरती है टिकैत साहब के समय पे। एक समय ऐसा था यहाँ पे जब एक नारा अल्लाह अकबर का लगता था और साथ में उसका प्रतिकार आता था हर हर महादेव, और हर हर महादेव का अगर नारा लगता था तो अल्लाह अकबर का नारा लगता था। इस तरह का आपस में प्यार और प्रेम था। और इस जो ओछी राजनीति इस देश में शुरू हुई, जिस तरह के हथकंडे राजनीतिक तौर पर नेताओं ने अपनाए, उससे उस भाईचारे को कहीं ना कहीं तोड़ा गया, बखेरा गया, एक दूसरे के प्रति द्वेष नफरत का वातावरण पैदा किया। ये इसमें क्या बुरा कह दिया? आप पूरी बात दिखाओ ना। मैं चैलेंज करता हूं, मैं आपके यहाँ वो भिजवा दूंगा, मैं लेके आ जाऊंगा और आप चलाओ अपने चैनल पे। राकेश जी ने क्या कहा,
आप हमारे साथ
बने रहिए, से दिखाना उस बात को।
आप हमारे साथ बने रहिए। पवन खेरा, I want to come to you, and you know the whole fact that this is right now what happened yesterday was seen as catharsis, rural dissent, everyone banding together against the BJP. Let's look at the fact sheet, Pawan Khera. Even if you go back 2017, it was perceived that there was anger by the Jats against the government, especially after the Jat agitation. 2019, similarly, there was anger. They all voted en masse for the BJP. What makes it different this time around?
The situation of Western UP in 2017 was mostly insulated from what was happening in Haryana. This is not true of the ongoing farmers' agitation. It's a sustained agitation. It has continued for over 9 months now, and the farmers across this belt feel betrayed, not just neglected. They now feel betrayed. Dhokha hua hai. Obviously, a party which is an expert in digging ditches has a problem with bridges. तो उनको हर हर महादेव और अल्लाह अकबर एक ही सांस में कोई बोल रहा हो तो आपत्ति तो होगी, कोई बात नहीं, let them distract our attention. The fact of the matter is, if the farmers are standing there and saying they'll defeat the BJP. Well, I'm proud of this country that despite repeated sustained efforts over 7 years to divide this society, divide this country on various excuses, this country is now rejecting this divisive politics. Thanks to the farmers that they are drawing the national attention back to where it should belong. They are drawing the narrative back to where it should belong. The fundamental issues of the so-called promise of doubling farmers' income. Do you know the last NSSO survey on farmers' income was in 2013? It was some 6,000 plus rupees. Where, did any other NSSO survey take place on farmers' income? Do you know the Standing Committee report of 2020-21 on agriculture demolishes the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana? These are reasons why the farmers feel betrayed. MSP, they kept saying Swaminathan, they'll implement all the recommendations. What formula of the Swaminathan Committee recommendations have they implemented? Did you know? Of course you know, because we've been discussing it on your show also. As Chief Minister of Gujarat, Modi ji wanted a guarantee for MSP. As Prime Minister, he doesn't want to talk about MSP. We all know that 22nd January this year.
So you're saying that's going to be the differentiator this time round. 2019 also was a case, sir. 2019 BJP swept the polls in Western Uttar Pradesh.
As I said, those days were different. Those issues were different.
Okay.
That particular issue that you're talking about was not as widespread as is this issue. So,
all right. So you're saying this is a different ballgame. Okay.
2021.
Nupur Sharma, if the bunch of farmers, right, sir.
Where is that call?
Right, sir. Okay, Mr. Khera.
Because there was no call made.
Nupur Sharma, if the bunch of farmers that are protesting right now as Muzaffarnagar are all hoodlums, molesters, why does your colleague Varun Gandhi want you to re-engage dialogue with them?
Well, to be honest, I'm not going to give a sweeping statement, but I'm going to certainly raise questions given the actions by this bunch of people. Anyway, I never knew what farmers had to do with Article 370 and Sharjeel Usmani and Umar Khaled and Bhima Koregaon and whatnot. But now I want to come back to what Mr. Yudhvir Singh said and what Mr. Pawan Khera said. Well, if that's the issue that Mr. Tikait has always been so secular, pray tell me why is he one of the main accused of the Muzaffarnagar riots? Pray tell me why he and his brother both are on record making anti-Muslim inflammatory speeches before the Muzaffarnagar riots. And now I actually want to come back to the Congress party, for a party which has richly, and that statement was made by their office bearer, Mr. Javed, has richly described, Mr. Rahul Gandhi did in a closed door meeting, we are a party of Muslims. For a party which has actually gone ahead and made a namaz prayer room in a Jharkhand assembly, no room for, I would say, Hanuman Chalisa or any temple room. For a party now,
but
which is very
why are we getting into this whole Muslim-Hindu situation? We're talking about the farmers here, no?
Why are you not allowing me to complete?
Madam, I will allow you to complete because I'm trying to steer you back to the conversation.
Then you can ask your question. I'm coming back. I started answering Mr. Pawan Khera's question only. Allow me. You have invited me. You'll allow me to go.
Of course, madam. You're my guest. Go ahead.
Mr. Pawan Khera.
Go ahead.
Very richly in the manifesto in 2019. Please then. In 2019, in your own manifesto, a party which promised that we will remove mandis, forget everything. A party which has actually promised the very same changes. In fact, the BJP government at the center today has not removed mandis, has only opened the option to sell privately alongside mandis as well. Now, secondly, and most importantly, if you were so concerned about farmers, Mr. Khera, I have a couple of questions to ask of you. Very recently in Moga in Punjab, your police went lathi charged, out of which, against protesting farmers, 50 farmers were injured. What happened? Are you not concerned about farmers? In Multai, let's not forget, Digvijay Singh's government in 1998, 24 farmers were shot at sight and killed, protesting farmers. In Rajasthan, you are doing the U-turn. In Rajasthan, now, and this is in India Today and Aaj Tak report lying in front of me. In Rajasthan, the farmers that you have started attaching and auctioning off their property. कुड़की नोटिस भेजना शुरू कर दिया है. अब आप मुझे बता दीजिए आपको अपने किसानों से कितना प्यार
Nupur, I'll ask you the question again which I asked.
25 of the contract
now that you made your point, now let me ask you then if that is the case, why is it that Varun Gandhi, who is from Uttar Pradesh like you, wants to re-engage with them with immediacy, where he's gone ahead and said that these are our annadatas? The ones you're calling molesters and hoodlums.
Well, Preeti, I am not the spokesperson for Mr. Gandhi, to be very honest. I'm a BJP spokesperson, and being that I can answer this much for you for sure. After 11 rounds of deliberation, let's not forget, let's not lose sight of the fact that the Kisan Andolan started with 3 moot questions and 3 moot demands. MSP ki guarantee le lo. We should be allowed to go to civil court. Why only High Court? And by the way, Mr. Anand Sharma of Congress Party for the longest time tried to actually violate the farmers by saying you will not be allowed to go to High Court and Supreme Court. Well, writ petition right always exists with any citizen in this country. And third and foremost, our land should not be getting attached. These 3 demands they started their Andolan with, their protests with. Forget these 3. The government came out with a blueprint. Forget 3. We will give you 7 in total demands. It came out with a detailed paper. 11 rounds of deliberation happened even with the Home.
All right, so you're saying enough talk has happened, the farmers are not coming on the table. Ghanshyam Tiwari, I'd like to bring Ghanshyam Tiwari. Madam, with your permission, I want to bring Ghanshyam Tiwari into this debate. Ghanshyam Tiwari, the fact is, if you look at the kind of political commentary that has gone down, why shouldn't it be said that now this movement is clearly political? With the language that was spoken, immediately you had Akhilesh Yadav who came out and gave a statement saying we are with the farmers, they are correct in everything that they're doing. Why shouldn't it be said it's political?
Well, good evening, Preeti, to your viewers, to you and my fellow co-panelists. 3 things quickly. One is, let me congratulate everybody on the victory of Indian team in England on the test match. As far as the farm issue is concerned, let me first take away the fake news that started with when Nupur spoke. Here is the Times of India of today, and I quote what it writes. Farmers won't be polarized by communal politics. Let us chant Allahu Akbar and Har Har Mahadev together, said Bharatiya Kisan Union national spokesperson Rakesh Tikait. So let's not use platforms to create fake news, saying that a party who is known for its propaganda and in some way building hatred in society is rattled when the Muzaffarnagar, which is known by the riots, is today known by the message of harmony, the strength of farmers, and has put.
But Mr. Tiwari, there is an attempt, sir. I'm sorry I'm coming in. I'm sorry. But there is an attempt right now by even the farm unions, because everybody understands what the history of Muzaffarnagar is. Everybody understands that the voting patterns have always been on communal lines. The only thing that can cut it is if the farmers band together. And all of this is also happening, and Nupur did have a point there where she said that the name of Mr. Tikait does find mention during the riots of Muzaffarnagar.
Well, there are 2 things. One is that relating this as well as your question that the rally becoming political. First and foremost, in 2014, when Mr. Modi said that the farm incomes will double in 2022, was that farmers turning political? They voted Mr. Modi into power. When they want the farmers' vote, they want farmers to be political. And when time has come for them to fulfill their promise, they want farmers to be apolitical. Why aren't farmers celebrating? BJP doubles its own income every 2 years. Their income rises by 50%. Every corporate they support and they seek support from in the invisible electoral bonds, their incomes have doubled and tripled in the last 7 years. But one promise they made to the farmers, which was political, that farm income will double in 2022, is now saying that if farmers come together, it is a political. It should be political. When you promised jobs, it was political. When you promised double income, it was political. When you built hatred, it was political. And you reap the benefits of all those 3 things.
Okay.
So when we build harmony, it is going to be political. When we help farmers build prosperity, it will be political. When we talk about employment, it will be political.
Because we've got very good news coming in from the Oval. But Mr. Khera, you wanted to come in when Nupur posed those questions to you. Go ahead, sir.
So it was a very strange question that since Mr. Tikait's name is there in the riots, so Mr. Savarkar's name was there in Gandhi's assassination. So please admit that Mr. Savarkar was involved. I mean, what kind of an argument is this? I expected better from a lawyer called Nupur Sharma. Now, in the Congress manifesto, I wish she had read it again. It's very clear. We were always for more mandis, closer to the, we were talking about market yards, closer to the farmer. We are not saying abolish all mandis. So please read properly before coming on a debate. Number 3, you're talking about Punjab. What about sugarcane?
I have read your manifesto.
One by one, madam. One by one. Go ahead, Mr. Can we just get Mr. Khera? Go ahead, sir.
Respond to the sugarcane, what we've done with the farmers of sugarcane in Punjab. Have you been able to do that in any other state? So if you want to copy us, you want to copy all our mistakes, so-called mistakes, but you'll never copy all that we've done for the farmers. Please copy us properly. हमारी जो अच्छाइयां हैं उसको भी थोड़ी नकल कर लो. बुराइयां ढूंढ ढूंढ के लाते हैं, नहीं होती तो भी ले आते हैं, उसकी नकल कर रहे हैं। साहब कांग्रेस ने भी किया था, उस वक्त फायरिंग हुई थी, हम भी करेंगे। अरे साहब कमाल है, बढ़ाइए ना फिर गन्ने का मूल्य। क्यों नहीं बढ़ाते? क्योंकि हमने तो बढ़ाया है। तो नकल करनी है तो अकल से करिए ना, बिना अकल के नकल काहे करते हो?
All right, okay. Nupur Sharma, come in quickly.
May I please answer this? We are not going to shoot at farmers. This is something the Solicitor General has already said before the Honorable Supreme Court. A committee which had formed, which even these Kisan unions actually refused to submit before. Now for that matter, चलो आपकी बात करते हैं। पता नहीं कहां से डबल कर दी। इंडिया टुडे की न्यूज दिखाती हूँ आपको पिछले हफ्ते की। No pending payments of sugarcane farmers in Uttar Pradesh reveals RTI query. This is an India Today news article.
गन्ने का मूल्य हमने कितना
बढ़ाया? And it's dated August 30, 2021.
One by one, sir, please one by one.
ऊपर बोली नहीं, क्या हो गया?
Sir, one by one.
गन्ने का मूल्य पंजाब ने कितना बढ़ाया? और
One thing we are please allow.
Can we just go one by one?
Not fair.
Okay, Mr. Khera, Mr. Khera, sir,
now this is very funny.
You've got your chance. Allow the same courtesy to your co-panelists. Can I just get Ms. Sharma?
Please, Preeti, this is not.
Can I just get Ms. Sharma? Go ahead, Nupur, make your point.
4 years in UP itself. May I please? In 4 years in Uttar Pradesh, the RTI query is reported in India Today on August 30, 2021. No pending payments of sugarcane farmers as per the RTI. In 4 years, the sugarcane farmers' payment of rupees 1.25 lakh crore has been given. Why didn't you come up actually with any policy like the PM Kisan Samman Nidhi, out of which 12 crore farmers have been made 1.5 lakh crore?
You made a point. Yudhvir Singh ji,
with jails farmers,
युद्धवीर सिंह जी, क्या गन्ने का भाव बढ़ गया है उत्तर प्रदेश में? आप खुद किसान हैं, भारतीय किसान यूनियन के सेक्रेटरी हैं।
देखिए बीजेपी की सरकार बनने के बाद एक दफे 10 रुपए क्विंटल बढ़ाया गया। केवल मात्र पिछले 5 साल में क्विंटल पे 10 रुपए इन्होंने बढ़ाए हैं और डबल करने की ये बात कर रहे हैं। 10 रुपए क्विंटल कीमत बढ़ाने से 5 साल में क्या फसल की कीमतें और किसान का मुनाफा दुगना हो जाएगा, ये एक प्रश्न है। किसान को जिस तरह से इन लोगों ने, योगी जी जब चुनाव में थे और चुनाव में वोट मांग रहे थे तो 400 रुपए क्विंटल गन्ने के भाव की बात कर रहे थे। आज वो 315 और 325 का भाव दे रहे हैं। केवल 10 रुपए उन्होंने बढ़ाए आज तक सत्ता में आने के बाद।
I'm going to bow out of this debate with all your permission because I'm sure the stage is set right now because there's going to be multiple debates for the next 6 months.
कांग्रेस खा गई।
ये कोई नहीं। All right, okay. Nupur, look at India's won at the Oval. Maybe all of us will come together and share on that. But with all your permission, I'm going to.
I am going. सरकार है, ठगों की सरकार.
All right, okay. I'm going to get out of this debate, but I do want to end with that because there was a question that was raised right in the beginning of women reporters going out reporting and being harassed. It's par for the course for us, and we don't seek any concessions. We don't seek any favors. We go out there, report the way most of our male colleagues do, and that's where we wanted to rest.